are like I was for many, many years, feeling like you don't really have control over the desire to eat these sugary, starchy junk foods, and you really feel like instead of you controlling the decisions of what you eat, the food controls you, which is how I lived for many years. If you feel like all these sweets and baked goods in a way are sort of like cigarettes to a heavy smoker, like you just feel like maybe you're addicted to them, well, here's the thing. If that's how you feel you are, it's critical to understand that the source of the problem comes from two things. It's not your willpower. That's why it's not your fault. It's not your willpower. It's not your hunger and satiety. It comes way before your hormones, even. It comes before how much sports you do or how many calories you take in. Way, way, way before that. These two critical factors must be addressed if you really want a long term solution. If you want, what are the two factors? The first factor comes from the physical realm. It is the biochemical balance of your brain. Biochemical balance of your brain means how certain foods affect your cravings, your desire for them. Because these sugary, starchy, ultra processed foods, they're addictive, just like nicotine and cigarettes, just like alcohol, just like drugs. And just like some people can have a beer or a shot of whiskey and just be done with it and it's no big deal, and they do it very moderately, some people can have a small piece of cake and just do it very moderately and be done with it. Similar to alcohol, many people are not addicted. It hasn't ruined their lives. They're not alcoholics, right? Where they're having to go to rehab or ruin their life or they're drinking liters and liters. But maybe, as we know, alcohol is quite a toxic substance. They're just drinking too much than what is good for them. Same thing with these sugary, starchy, ultra processed foods. And the problem is if alcohol is regulated and it's over 18, you have to be over to 18, and society sees it as something that is toxic and dangerous. And therefore, even though it is pleasurable, it should be done moderately. When it comes to all the sugary, starchy, ultra processed foods, that is like shoved in our faces 24/7. It's like if you don't eat any of them, something's wrong with you. But these foods, what they do is they mess with the biochemistry of your brain. And for many, many people, what happens is when they have some, and as the advertisement promises it'll make them feel great, and they remember that it did, what actually happens in actuality is it just makes them want more. Instead of it sort of, closing that little yen that we have for sweet, it actually opens up this bottomless pit for more and more. The more we eat, the more we want. If you're getting value from my content, I am so glad, and I'd like to ask of you a small favor. Every time even one person likes, comments, or shares on a video, it makes a huge impact to how much this video reaches more people. So thank you in advance for liking, commenting, and/or sharing this video. When that happens, the biochemistry of our brain has gone out of whack, and these foods cause that in people who are more sensitive to the addictive nature of these foods. But that's only half the story. That's only one out of the two critical factors if you really want to make a life change. The second factor is your relationship with food. I will quote the lovely Molly Carmel, who wrote an amazing book called Breaking Up with Sugar. And she says there are two relationships that you cannot run away from, that you will have to deal with your whole life. The first is your relationship with yourself, and the second is your relationship with food. If we don't fundamentally change our relationship with these addictive foods, then you can do biochemical repair again and again and again and again, and it just won't take for the long term. But it's the same thing about our relationship with foods. We can work on our relationship with foods in these emotional eating programs, for again and for many, many years. But if we're not eating in a way that balances the biochemistry in our brain, chances are it's not going to work over the long term. It has to be a combination of the two. That is what the GPS method does. The method that I created to help people live in what I call sugar-free recovery, which means having a loving food that loves you back and having a loving and healthy relationship with that food and knowing which foods to eat that will keep your brain biochemically balanced. And then from there, we can already eat healthy so that it fixes our hormones and it fixes our satiety and hunger. And we lose weight without dieting and without feeling like hungry or deprived. And then we can really find a long-term solution to have the best life you can with the most effective medicine there is for obesity, for diabetes, for metabolic disease, which is real food. If this interests you and you'd like to find out more about my sugar-free recovery program, there is a link to contact me in the information below. Right now, I have 3 places in my exclusive personal counseling program. So if you want to catch them, you better hurry. Click in the link below. We'll set up a strategy call and let's talk. Bye-bye.